Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. Today we're in Gig Harbor, Washington. Get used to the word Gig Harbor because we're gonna be here for the next 5 months on a couple different projects. On today's project, we're just getting started. We just tore the rails off this front entry. We're completely revamping this front entryway because the way it's set up right now is you have to come up 5 or 6 steps to get to a landing, and then you can either go to the front door or you got to go back down 5 or 6 steps to get to the backyard. So we're going to eliminate that. So the landing basically is going to be 1 step up off the sidewalk, and this is where you come in. This is a little bit confusing drawing because there's landings. There's a landing here and a landing here, and this is the existing landing behind me, okay? So instead of the stairs coming this way, which I'm sitting on right now, to an elevated platform, we're gonna take this platform and lower it all the way to the ground, 1 rise up off the concrete, and then you'll come up 2 or 3 steps to another landing that's gonna shoot you at a 45-degree angle back up this way to another landing, and then you'll do like about 140, 150-degree turn to come up those stairs to the existing landing that's at the front door. The reason we did it this way is because, for one, we had the space over here to do it, and also so that if you want to use this as a pass-through, you just have to come up 1 step, you can come across and step off and hit the backyard, versus coming up to a landing and then back down to the backyard. So also, it didn't make a lot of sense where the stairs were. They're really steep because they had only so much projection to squeeze this set of stairs in. And then they didn't put them up against the house. So there was this air gap of 2 feet right here. And so there was railing on both sides of this staircase. It was just a way to get in the house, and it wasn't thought out very well. So that's stage 1 of this project. That's what we're focusing on right now. We're gonna get all this done, built, finalized, and all that, and then we'll work on another section of the backyard after that. So basically, there's 4 separate landings. There's the landing that 4 separate decks, landings, whatever you want to call them. There's a deck up here for the front entry of the house. There's a deck about halfway down. Now I have 7 stairs drawn here, but I'm actually going to need 8 to get me below these windows over here. So we want to make sure that that landing is below the windows. Now, this staircase is going to cut into those windows, and those windows are probably not tempered, so we're gonna have to cover those up for our final inspection because they're not safety glass. I think there's a coating you can have applied to it to make it safety glass. I'll have to look into that. Some kind of glazing or something. So once you come from out the front door and down the first set of steps, you have a nice like 8'6" by 7'6" landing. Has a 45-degree cut in it. And then you're gonna come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps to the next little landing. This is just a little landing. It's necessary to get us to turn into the proper angle that we need. And then this set of steps comes in right next to this post right here. So that's the plan. So let me get you a side view really quick, and I'll show you that so you might understand a little bit more about. This took me several hours to figure out. This was not easy. It took a lot of forethought and planning, but that's why we're here, because we're the only guys that came up with this design that the clients absolutely loved. It's an aggressive design, let's put it that way. This is the front view. Here's the front door right behind me, and you can see how this is now going to be railed off behind me, and then the first set of stairs come down to this other landing right below these windows, which are right here, and then this staircase comes down at a 45 down to another small landing right here, and then your final exit point onto this enlarged lower deck area that we'll build as we get to that point. So my plan is this whole landing, basically this little landing, is probably going to be sitting on the lower deck. I don't quite have all of the details finished on how I'm gonna build this, but we're getting there. It's gonna change a little bit, but we'll just have a field inspection done on our framing, and that'll explain to the building inspector. He just wants to see it, and it's so low. This deck really technically doesn't need a permit. It's so low to the ground, but since it's all tied into all this other stuff, we just included it in the permit. So that's a brief overview of what we're doing, and now I'm gonna start tearing this deck apart. So don't install a post like this, guys. If you're gonna do a deck and you don't know what you're doing, don't just notch an inch out of a post, nail it to the end grain of a piece of fascia with a couple of nails through it like this. This is terrible construction. If I was gonna do this, I would have put a solid block behind here, and then I would have detailed this edge, and I would have put fasteners through the corner, all the way through here, and through the frame and into the solid blocking. This is dangerous. Even though it's a corner post, which means it has support from both sides of a rail, this is really shoddy workmanship, so don't do that. All right, guys, so I'm backing all these screws out. They're Phillips head. I'm surprised at how many of them are coming out, so that's great. It's taking a little bit longer than if we do our standard demo tools, but I'm salvaging this frame, so the cleaner I make it now, the easier it's gonna be for me to reinstall new decking on top of it. But I have a screw right here that is stripped. I have it out partially, but I don't have it out all the way. So what I'm gonna do is just take a regular drill. I've shown this trick before on our page, but since we're in the middle of construction, I just thought, you know what? Just show it again. Just take a regular drill with a regular chuck, or at least a chuck that you can tighten. I think this is called a Jacobs chuck. It's open all the way right now. So I'll put it in forward, and I'm just gonna cinch down onto it until I have it fully locked. Then I'm just gonna hit reverse, back it right out. So that's how you can get a stripped screw out of a deck board that's partially in. If it's all the way down, you're out of luck. You have to use a different method, but works pretty good. All right, guys, another no or thing that I would not do is how they attach these stairs to this deck. If you look up, you'll see that there's blocks in between the stair, I call them jacks, but they're stringers, stair stringers. And then they just screwed through the sides of the stringers into the blocks. And there's no metal, there's no structural screws at all holding this together. And then they use composite decking as part of their blocking to attach a staircase to, which I do not suggest you do. That is not to code. That will not pass code. It should not have passed code. Whoever inspected this deck should not have allowed those blocks to be used to fasten the staircase to. So just another sample or example of what you do not do when you're building a staircase. right, guys, so I know I do a lot of this product called G-tape. I tape a lot of my products. Where I live in the Pacific Northwest, it rains. It's always damp. And this is a prime example of what not to do for the base of a staircase. Whoever built this, they just poured the concrete right in underneath the stair tread and encased the pressure-treated lumber in concrete, and it's always wet, and it just dry rots. I can stick my finger completely all the way down into this cavity of this stair stringer, and there's nothing left. So what's holding the deck board in place? Absolutely nothing. So this is an example of what not to do. You always want to have all your stringers supported from underneath, or at least on the nosings, and free from any moisture. So if there's any moisture that's inside or that's touching these stringers, they're gonna rot. I don't care if it's pressure treated or not. The only way you're gonna get away from that is if you use aluminum or composite or something like that, which those systems are coming, but for traditional do-it-yourselfers, don't do it this way. All right, so we have our deck torn down, all the stairs, landings, all that stuff's torn up and thrown in the truck, ready to go to a recyclery. But before we leave today, we want to dig our footings for this first upper deck landing that we need to build. So what we're gonna do is identify those holes, dig those out. We're going 16 inches square by 12 inches deep. Don't hate me, guys, because that's just the rule here. We don't have a lot of frost depth, so we don't have to go super deep. We just have to have the right size footprint for the footing. So we will go over footings in larger detail in a future video. But for today, we only have to dig 3 footings. So we're gonna dig those footings, get them opened up, and then I can call for my footing inspection, because since we're not using helical piles on this project, we have to call the city. They have to come look at the hole and make sure that we dug the hole as prescribed on the plans, and then they'll give us our footing inspection, and then we can pour concrete and get going on this baby. So that's what's next. All right, guys, whew, haven't dug a hole in a while. Those helical piles are nice. It's a lot less work to do this than this. So that's all we have time for today, but we're basically done for the day anyways. Our demo's done. We have our footings almost completely dug. It's time for me to go call for a footing inspection, so I gotta go. So if you like this video, you know what to do. Click that subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. Don't forget to share these videos around. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think of this video and of our channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.